Good evening, everyone. It's my pleasure to invite you all to the Fireside chat on sustainable ocean management for people and planet, organized under 22nd edition of World Sustainable Development Summit 2023. I am Palak Khanna, Communication Executive, TERI. Before we start the Fireside chat, I would like to invite Dr. Dhawan to present her introductory remarks for the session. For today's Fireside event, the panel, I would like to invite the esteemed panel, Dr. M. Ravichandran, Secretary, Ministry of Earth Sciences, and Dr. Eric Olsen, Head of Research, Research Manager, Institute of Marine Research, and today's session moderator, His Excellency, Mr. Hans Jacob Frydenlund, Norwegian Ambassador. Thank you.
Thank you, Palak, and thanks to the dignitaries for this panel. And thank you to all those who are present at this late hour. We had a long day, but I'm sure the wait for this particular session, it's worth the time. So it's going to be a very interesting session for all of you. We all, in a way, I'll say that most of us, we go and we enjoy the oceans, we look at the biodiversity, we enjoy the fish, we also look at what other resources are present over there. We also know, like oceans are natural sinks for carbon dioxide. The amount of CO2 which is fixed by the oceans, that's amazing. But then, are we taking care of our oceans the way we should? And are they going to serve us the way they have done ever since human civilization started? And if you ask my personal opinion, I'll say we have to be a little more careful. We have to ensure that they serve the humanity forever, and therefore conservation and sustainable use of seas become crucial for attaining social, environmental, and economic goals, and hence sustainable development. The ocean covers more than 70% of the surface of the planet and form 95% of the biosphere. According to the World Ocean Assessment, the ocean is Earth's larger ecosystem, regulating global climate and driving weather-related systems. Safeguarding the oceans for future generations, sustainable and integrated ocean management is key as humanity's well-being is intertwined with the health of the ocean. Collective actions, including North-South cooperation, such as those involving India and Norway, are key to enhance integrated ocean management through marine spatial planning. I'm sure that the discussion in this session, facilitated by our country partner, the Royal Norwegian Embassy, and His Excellency Hans, will actually help us to understand more. And I'm sure with the help of and with the presence of excellent panelists, we will examine some of the innovations linked to ocean and how these contribute towards addressing the triple planetary crisis of climate change, pollution, and biodiversity loss. So I look forward to having very interesting discussions in this panel. And thanks once again to all for being present, and to the panelists for addressing the audience at this time. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I hand over to His Excellency Mr. Hans Jacob to moderate the session. Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you, Dr. Dhawan, for these introductory remarks. The ocean is central to life on this planet. It's Earth's largest ecosystem, regulating global climate, and absorbing heat and additional carbon. Currently, the ocean is facing a crisis due to climate change, pollution, and overuse of resources. And solving this crisis is one of the greatest challenges of our time. And coming from Norway, actually, we're a country who is completely dependent on the oceans. Norway has lived on the oceans for more than 1,000 years, both as fishermen, as sailors, and now also from offshore petroleum activity. Or more than 80% of what we export comes from the ocean. And actually, a huge part of the country there would have been no settlement had it been for the oceans. So for us, this is a question about actually how are we going to thrive, and actually how are we going to live in a place actually we love. And to avoid this current crisis and to be able to benefit the most from the oceans, because we can benefit more, we need to find ways to balance competing interests from shipping, fisheries, oil production, aquaculture, tourism, and we need to find a way to deal with our habit of using the oceans as a large garbage dump. We need to find a way to sustainably benefit from our oceans. And today I'm joined on the stage by two of the people from Norway and India who have collaborated the most on these issues since 2020. Dr. Ravichandran, Secretary, Minister of Earth Sciences. He chairs the India and Norway Task Force on Blue Economy for Sustainable Development, and he's been one of the driving forces of our cooperation, and we've been able to drive it forward because of your strong engagement. And Dr. Erik Olsen, Head of Research, Institute of Marine Research in Norway. He is an expert on development of ecosystem-based management of marine life, and also been part of the collaboration since the start. And we have just spent some days together in Puducherry and Lakshadweep, launching the two first draft Marine Spatial Plans for the Union territories, and then planning on how to develop the plans further and the cooperation further. And we also came together to really experience the fantastic biodiversity, particularly of the Lakshadweep Islands, and also the fragility of the ecological systems there. There are huge potential, but also huge dangers. So I would ask you, Dr. Ravichandran, what can Puducherry and Lakshadweep gain from the pilot marine special plans? And how and why is the government of India enhancing integrated ocean management?
Thank you. Thank you, Ambassador. First and foremost, as many people have mentioned, ocean provides countless benefits to the humankind. So, as many of us know that ocean provides countless benefits to the humankind, but at the same time, it is also have stresses, both from climatic as well as non-climatic. What are the benefits it's giving? Suppose if you see that it provides food, it taking care of weather and climate, and also it is having a largest shipping, all the shipping route. Basically, 95% of the volume of the material is transported through ship, and it is ecotourism, and there are many other things. It is environment and ecosystem, many things are there. It provides even half of the oxygen what we are breathing, comes from the ocean because of the phytoplankton. So there are many benefits from the ocean, but at the same time it is encountering now the stresses like a climatic, either it is a storm or marine heat wave, or you can take the storm, cyclones, intensity, and many other stressors. It is a climatic stresses and sea level rise, and there are non-climatic stresses such as like more and more people are building the infrastructure along the coast. So it is all balance between one way we have resources, other way we have the stress. So how do we go about as proper managing the things? So that is why this management is very important to have both the things. Especially we have to take care of the stress what is facing by the ocean, as well as we have to harness the resources of the ocean in sustainable way. So for both the things we need to have a better management. For that better management, we should have a plan. So that is what the Marine Spatial Plan it is. Of course, before 2020, we are all not much aware, so that's why we have under Blue Economy and other places, we have a collaboration with Norway, because they have long experience in marine spatial planning and other things. So we thought of starting with initially 2 places, one in the mainland, one in the island. Both the places are very limited land resources, and how do they harness the ocean? So that's why they have more stress than other states. So that's why we have taken these 2 states and try to see what are the various stress, man-made as well as natural it is there. Then we want to have a plan. So that is what that marine spatial planning, we start off making it in these 2 things. And of course, both the team from India and Norway, they worked together and brought out this Puducherry as well as the Lakshadweep Marine Spatial Planning. And it is unique for the first time in the country, and it will be evolved over the maybe the next few other coastline. So it is basically a very good experience, and working with the Norway, and we are able to learn a lot of experience what you have done in Norway. So our people went there and took some, gained the experience and knowledge in practical, and they are able to implement here in Puducherry as well as in Lakshadweep.
Dr. Olsson, what are we talking about when talking about integrated ocean management, and how has Norway benefited from this approach? And is it a tool to actually attack the triple crisis of the oceans?
Yes. I think I'll use the hand mic as well. Yes, it is a tool to tackle the triple crisis, because integrated ocean management overcomes the challenges of single sector management, where you manage one sector by its own. And as the sectors grow together, this can easily lead to a situation where, if you analyze them singly, they are still sustainable, but together they contribute unsustainably, in particular to the environment, to vulnerable habitats, but they may also cause intersectoral conflicts, like building of new renewable energy plants in the sea may compromise fishing grounds. And by doing integrated management, you first get an understanding of what is going on in your entire system, all your human activities at the same time, and also a full understanding of the ecosystem in place to understand how much pressure is the system on from all activities. And then you can try to manage and plan management actions that are both sustainable for each sector, but that you ensure are also sustainable in all the other dimensions of sustainability within your system. And this allows you then to have to reach a system where you have long-term sustainability that will afford both jobs and opportunities, and you don't compromise the health of the ecosystem over time. And you might, if you do it in a spatial context, you map out where the different activities are going on, which is what marine spatial planning is. It's taking integrated management into a spatial context. You can identify both areas where there are most conflicts that you need to resolve to move forward, but you might also be able to identify areas that are less used, where there are no conflicts, where there are opportunities for new activities. And as such, this application of a marine spatial planning approach to marine management can be used as a catalyst for the blue economy, because it can provide you with necessary information how the blue economy can grow in a sustainable manner for all. And then for the other question, which is why did Norway start with all this? And as the ambassador said, we are an ocean state, and most of our income comes from, the main exports are from the marine industries. So marine management and sustainability of that has always been important, but there was a change around the millennium based on the Rio 98 and Johannesburg 2002 conventions that asked for more sustainable and ecosystem-based management. And at the same time, there was increased pressure from our offshore petroleum industry to move into new areas that we as scientists considered valuable and vulnerable. And there was a lot of public debate about this. And rather than dealing with this issue on a sectoral basis, the government at the time decided, no, we're going to take a step back and do an integrated, holistic analysis of what is going on, what are the total impacts from all the different sectors in our sea areas, and come up with a plan to give guidance for how it should be managed. And then we started developing the plan, and it includes the entire ecosystem, all the human activities therein. In Norway, it's mainly petroleum, fisheries, and shipping. And we analyzed them one by one in relation to each other. We identified what areas were most valuable, both in terms of biodiversity, in terms of production of the ecosystem, and what were the risks associated with each of the human activities. In particular, with oil and gas activity, it was the risk of large-scale pollution for accidental spills that was a major issue. And when this was put together, we presented an advice to the government and was passed through Parliament and then is enacted by the governments since. And the basis for this is also based on shared vision for marine management in Norway, which was not new for the management plan, but was reiterated there, that we want to protect the health of the ecosystem while allowing for sustainable use, which is basically this dual goal that your Prime Minister highlighted in his address to the WSDS earlier today. So the major outputs of this plan was then it brought together the different sectors, both at the top level of government. The ministries had to get together into a group to collaborate across Ministry of Petroleum, Fisheries, Environment, Foreign Affairs, to agree on what management actions were they going to take. And then they also tasked us, like the Marine Institute, where I'm from, which is under the Ministry of Fisheries, to work together with other government institutions and directorates to develop the knowledge base for the plan. And together we then created a common knowledge base that everybody agreed upon. And just that we have a common knowledge base that everybody's agreeing upon is a fantastic step, because it avoids then having to discuss what are the facts about your ecosystem. And out of this came various plans. The most important were zoning for new oil and gas activities, because that was one of the drivers, which areas were going to be open for oil and gas and which were to be closed. And that has been very useful and important in management further. And it was started in 2002. The first plan was in 2006. It's been revised every 4 years. And it's been now a mainstay, a cornerstone of Norwegian marine management.
Thank you, Dr. Olsen. Yes, just going to go ahead. Just one observation. This is knowledge-based decision-making. So it's quite symptomatic. There are two excellent scientists sitting here. Actually, and you, Dr. Ravichandran, you have jumped from the scientific part of it to a knowledge part of it to the management and administration part of it. So how long time did it take to develop this plan for Puducherry and Lakshadweep? And how long time would it take to develop similar things for the rest of India?
Yeah, of course, it started the Norwegian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Indian Ministry of Earth Sciences together. We signed a letter of intent in the year, exactly, I think 3 years before, around February 2000. February 2000, we made a letter of intent, and later on we have established, of course, Norway-India Integrated Ocean Management and Research Initiative. Of course, this initiative, it is planned for 5 years time frame. So that is what we started 3 years back. Of course, we want to start this selection and everything. We have done Puducherry as well as Lakshadweep. But unfortunately, you all know that because of COVID time frame, because of after this, exactly after February 20th, this COVID has come. So 2 years is completely halted. Of course, there are many works we are discussing and going on in the online meeting and other things. And of course, this is a very, very new concept for India because we have not started yet. What is this about? What is the data requirement for this marine spatial planning? What is needed from the real time as well as in the various ministries? We have to get the input, not only as already pointed out by Eric regarding shipping or maybe the benthic data as well as the tourism data or the coastline data, how it is changes over the period. All this data information we gathered during that COVID period. And afterwards, of course, the Norwegian team visited. Of course, our team also went there. Of course, exactly, I think I remember September 2022, our team visited Norway. Our team means basically from Puducherry administration, Ministry of Earth Sciences, as well as the Lakshadweep administration. Those who are dealing with this management of this coast and ocean, they have visited. And they have started interacting with the Norwegian friends and colleagues, and they tried to learn what was going on at the different places, not only at one places, they visited various places and tried to learn in September. And maybe by the time when they come back, they got the grip of it, what is this marine spatial planning all about, and how importance also they have more they understood more importance about this one. So they get more involved in this making the process, and they were discussing with the colleagues from Norway and other thing, and roughly about, I think this month, it is almost ready, the Puducherry as well as Lakshadweep plan. Though it is taken about 3 years, but essentially major work is done in 6 months. So 6 months time frame it has been done. Of course, the other, now this is a pilot phase for these 2 regions. Now other places, since most of the data and other informations are available, so we can go in phased manner with a different state. Of course, each state will have a different criteria as well as data and information, or maybe the management plan will be different for each state also. So we have to be including social status and other things we have to take on board, and then we can plan each state. Maybe hopefully by few years, 2-3 years, we will be able to complete in other state depending upon the time data availability. Suppose somewhere we have to take new data, then it may take a little more time. Otherwise, 2-3 years we can complete the entire country in all 9 coastal states. That's what my plan.
And Dr. Olsen, that is actually quite fast, isn't it? And that one points out also to is what did you find actually this mode operation special? Because we started out digitally, and then you moved on into the physically very late.
That's true. And I'm glad that we eventually came to the physical stage, because it was challenging just to have a collaboration going on Teams. But what made this really special was, firstly, it was that this was truly a collaboration among equals. We have 20 years experience with doing spatial planning, but when it comes to the resources, the financial or logistical or the quality of the personnel that is needed to do MSP, India has all that in abundance, and was so impressed by seeing that with our colleagues from NCCR and from Puducherry and from Lakshadweep. So this was not a project where we are teaching India to do something. You already know how to do it, but you can profit from our 20 years of experience. And what's also very special about this collaboration was seeing that after your visit to Norway in last fall, where we presented and went into depth about the Norwegian management plan, and when we came back to India to see how you had taken that knowledge and made it your own and applied it into the settings of Lakshadweep and Puducherry, and really not just reiterated what we had done, but you had applied it in your setting the way was most appropriate for you. And it really harkens to the possibilities of, for further collaboration within marine science and marine management on an equal partner basis. And I think this will become, we are working together already. There are numerous Norwegian projects, Norwegian and Indian collaboration projects, but I think this will be strengthened in the future and should be. And it becomes even more importantly as you grow in become an even bigger player, both economically and politically and scientifically. And in terms of what it has taught me, it's also that taking an idea like marine spatial planning, and we have implemented it in one way in Norway, and taking it to India, it really highlights that you cannot, it has to be customized to the situation. Because Norway is a small country with only 5.5 million people. It was very easy to implement. It was implemented as a top-down approach from the top levels of government, and since we're only 5.5 million, there is a very short distance between our prime minister and me as a scientist. I've even met both our two recent prime ministers. Whereas here in India, it was very clear that you had to maneuver a more complicated landscape, both on the local level, on the state level, on the national level, to get this going. And understanding that you had to fit your management and do it much more carefully was a really learning experience from me. And I think that is a valuable experience to take into the international knowledge base of how to do integrated ocean management. One lesson that really India can teach the world.
Thank you. Just one comment. Population-wise, Norway is a small country, but when it comes to oceans and our exclusive economic zones, they're about the same size. So here we are, in that respect, we really see eye to eye. But Dr. Ramachandran, to move on. India is now the president of the G20. How are you planning to take forward the sustainable ocean agenda during your presidency?
Yes, of course, during the India's G20 presidency, we would be working towards for promoting a sustainable and climate resilient blue economy as one of the priority areas under environment, climate and sustainability working group. Of course, it is spearheaded by the Ministry of Environment and Forest and Climate Change and co-hosted by our Ministry of Earth Sciences. Of course, it is having various different themes under this working group, including marine plastic litter and of course, what is its impact, what is the marine litter and its impact, and conservation and enhancement of the coastal and marine ecosystem. How do we conserve our ecosystem? And also marine spatial planning is also one of the theme in the G20 presidency. And over 3 meetings and 1 side event is planned totally in this working group. Of course, the first working group is already completed. It is a sustainable blue economy. It was done in Bangalore. It has been completed. And of course, in that we have already made some of the, we have prepared an inception report. In that inception report, it is basically a technical study related to how do we accelerate the transition to sustainable and climate resilient blue economy. So that is a major topic. So it is a technical report. It has been, inception report has been prepared and it has been shared with all the G20 countries, and we have taken some of the inputs and all the G20 countries. Interestingly, all G20 countries are ocean countries. So that is where it is connect to all the people. So we are able to make it that particular one meeting in Bangalore. Now another 2 meetings will be there. One is in, next one is in Ahmedabad. So there we will be talking about mainly marine litter topic as a main subject. And then this third one is related to Ocean 20 and in Ocean 20 dialogue. So we are also planning to have in the morning section all the G20 countries. We want to make them awareness about the ocean pollution or coastal pollution and other things. We want to have simultaneously, we want to have a beach cleaning program morning 7 to 9, followed by 10 o'clock we want to start the meeting. So it starts from Japan and entire globe, 7 o'clock it will be. It is basically to make awareness about the pollution in the ocean. So after that we will have an ocean dialogue on that day in Mumbai. After that dialogue comes, then we will make a communique. Then finally we will sum up what is the ocean theme, what is the main message for the G20 countries. Of course, it goes in line with the decade of the ocean is United Nations, what is this envisaged. It is to healthy ocean, clean ocean, predicted ocean, protected ocean, sustainable ocean, all these things, whatever the plan is, the decade of the ocean. So it in sync with that particular agenda. So this is what we planned in the G20 presidency.
Impressive. And just a small comment on beach cleaning. Even in assumed pristine Lakshadweep, we had to go out beach cleaning together. And if we then, and we didn't even need to bring our own bags because we found plastic bags on the beach to put other plastic litter into. So it really shows the enormous problem of plastic litter, of marine litter, but that was not actually a topic, but it's one of the memories we bring together from Lakshadweep. Time is running out, so Dr. Olsen, I give you the last question, and please be brief. This initiative will start on request on the Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who envisaged that Norway and India could be ideal partners in developing a sustainable blue economy, and I think the project has shown that that was a correct vision. But how can we take that cooperation further, both bilaterally and internationally?
I think the important message here is to understand that if India rolls out marine spatial planning across its 2 million square kilometers, it will become a world leader in sustainable ocean management, not just in area, but due to your size in population number and as a subcontinent and as already a world leader, part of the G20, you will be a party that will be looked up to be inspired by, and that can push for even stronger and more needed ocean management measures to ensure long-term ocean sustainability. And that is very much aligned with the ambitions of Norway as well, and something that we definitely, and I hope that we will be able to continue to work with you in the future. And if with this partnership, India and Norway will cover sea areas spanning from the Antarctic to the Arctic. It will be a global competence center on marine spatial planning.
And there's extra bonus that Dr. Rajandran before was responsible for the Arctic and Antarctic and for the Arctic research in India.
Yeah, interestingly to say that only ocean named after is India. It is Indian Ocean. So we need to protect it.
So thank you both for taking part in the session on sustainable ocean management and people and the planet.
What an engaging session, I must say. I would like to thank our panelists for such an impactful and crucial deliberation on the need for ocean management. We invite you to attend other plenary lined up for today, and the next plenary session is on CEO Forum, Accelerating Business Action for Realizing Sustainable Development Goals, which starts in a few minutes. Thank you.